Hi, my name is Linda, and this is Escaping My Fairy Tale. Can you believe it? This is episode number 10. Yeah, 10. I seriously cannot believe that I have done this so many times with how incredibly awkward I feel. But I am determined to do it, and I press on. Today, I want to talk about some of the things that people don't tell you, or you would just have no idea about when you leave an abusive relationship, or you leave a narcissist. There are losses that you could not have expected. My bunny is so cute. The first thing that deteriorated for me was what deteriorated slowly for maybe 15 years was my health. I got sicker and sicker until my doctor said, Linda, you've got 3 months. So health, it deteriorates, and that's what was my red flag, my blaring red flag in my face, was my health falling apart. What I didn't realize is the grief that would be added after separation during the divorce process, and the grief when I received so many confession letters of what his duplicitous life had looked like. So your health, your finances. That's right. I was cut out of bank accounts for years. This divorce went on for 5 years, and he had all the control over the finances since day one. On from here to here. I can't even pay for the rent of my home without my older children helping to pay for the rent. And I am in the smallest house I could find in a city outside of the city in order to find something that together we could afford for me to live in. So finances, huge loss. I would have never thought about. But my health, my finances, my friends. I discussed this in the last episode, but I lost friends that I've had for 4 decades. I lost family members. I know I'm repeating myself, but you have no idea how painful that is. I've lost my family circle. I've lost my friend circle. And people have me blocked. And I was trashed. My life was trashed. And somehow I am looked at as the abuser. And so I've lost friends and family along with the health and the finances. I lost my comfort, my security. The one thing that I did have was somebody paying the bills, and somebody taking the trash out, somebody helping keep the provision around me. I lived in a beautiful castle. That's why I called my book Escaping My Fairy Tale, because I lived in a beautiful castle with the ownership of a very booming business. We were making a lot of money, and so my castle was beautiful. But actually it was a dungeon I was trapped in, but wanted to believe it was something that it wasn't. My sons call it a cage, not a castle. That's probably more accurate, but in my mind I fought so hard for it to be a castle. So that's why I called it Escaping My Fairy Tale. But the weird thing is that I lost my present, I have my eyebrows go nuts when I talk. I never knew that. It makes me very insecure. So pardon the eyebrows, but I lost where I am. Okay. Like my present, all the comforts, the finances, being locked out through the separation, and then the divorce. He completely cleaned me out, and I am leaning on the state for coverage for things. I lost my security and my lifestyle that I was just used to, because I've been married for 37 years. But I also lost, or it feels like I lost, my future. Because I had this idea of, grandkids around me and living in a huge home. The kids could come and live with us if they wanted to, come and visit us. I had this picture of my future and being able to be at peace, play my piano, enjoy the people around me without pressure or stress. And now I struggle to pay my electric bill. So I lost the future that I thought I was heading towards. Weirdly, I lost my past because it was not what I thought it was. And when I go back to one of those wonderful memories, like with my kids, or if I think back of where we lived in this beautiful house, my mind just directly goes to the fact that in that beautiful house on the island of Oahu or Kauai, I was in my room with the door closed because he insisted on rest times. And I was in my room, very medicated, alone for a lot of hours. And so my past that I had painted in my mind as beautiful, wonderful, all those wonderful memories are like distorted. They've just been, it's like somebody came and graffitied over my beautiful memories. And so it's a really strange place to be looking back. Nope, that was destroyed. Looking at my present, yeah, this is hard. I'm really struggling financially, emotionally. I grieve continuously. I have insane insomnia problems. And then I think of the future, and it's, but through it all, I have not wavered with the Lord. I love Him. He is everything to me. And having Him beside me and His presence surround me 24/7 is the reason I'm sitting here right now. And He wrote this fairy tale. He wrote it, created it, designed it, and I trust Him. And I know that He had my castle blow up on purpose. He saved me, He rescued me, and I think He definitely has a plan for my future that is not what I thought, but that doesn't matter. I'm the character in His story. Where is He going to take me? What is He going to do? I can rest in the fact that He is the author. But there are a lot of losses. That's what I wanted to talk about today. And I'm really babbling. But your health takes a hit. Your finances take a huge hit. Your emotional well-being, loss of friends, and I will say the worst is the estrangement. I lost one child. And wow. Yeah. That stings. More than all of this put together, the loss of my daughter. Like I've said before, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But I want to talk about this today, and I'm going to go into the little movie section of my video where I talk a little more about this. It's funny because I had wanted my channel to be, even if nobody watched it, I grew up on Mr. Rogers. I know this is so silly, but I loved that as a child because I would sit in front of the screen and I had somebody who I believed cared about me, cared and just thought I was amazing just the way I was, even though he didn't even know who I was or that I existed. But I loved the format of his show where he came in and he said hello and greeted me. And then he would take me to this land of make-believe, which was really kind of creepy if you think about it. You look at those puppets closely and it's kind of haunting. But I wanted my video to be like that, a greeting, a saying hello, being friends, talking from my heart. And then kind of going to that, instead of a land of make-believe, it's kind of just going into the castle, going into my chains, and going into my escape. and all that I've learned, so that hopefully I can help you if you are on a similar journey or in a similar castle. And then like the little trolley came out of the tunnel, and I come out and I say goodbye and I say, I'm going to be here next time. So we'll head into the video part now. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the other side. This is Escaping My Fairy Tale. Welcome to my story, and maybe to yours. When people talk about leaving abuse, they imagine freedom. They imagine a woman walking out the door and finally breathing again. But I want to tell you the truth, the part no one prepares you for. Leaving a narcissist doesn't feel like freedom at first. It feels like a funeral. It feels like losing everything you built your whole life around. And it costs more than anyone on the outside will ever understand. Today I want to talk about the hidden price that comes with leaving, the cost you pay in secret, and the God who stayed with me through every shattered piece. The thing that collapsed my body, people say trauma is emotional, but abuse lives in your bones. My nervous system had been in survival mode for so long. When I finally got out, my body didn't know how to stand anymore. My doctor literally said, "You won't survive another 3 months." My heart was failing, my hormones were failing, my sleep, my breath, my digestion, everything was shutting down. Your body keeps the score. Mine was keeping 1,000. Psalm 73:26 reads, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." Then there came the cost to my relationships, out of the deepest wounds I've ever carried. When you leave a narcissist, the smear campaign starts before your feet hit the door. People you loved, people you prayed for, people you would have died for, suddenly turn away. Some are deceived, some are manipulated, some don't want the discomfort of truth, and some, like my own daughter, are stolen by the lies. It breaks something in you, something you can't put into words except to say that a part of your heart is now walking around in the world without you. But even here, God whispered, like in Psalm 34:18, "I am close to the brokenhearted." And I learned that losing people who sided with abuse was actually losing chains I didn't know were still around my feet. This is the cost victims pay in silence, but God reminds me in Joel 2, verse 25, "I will restore to you the years the locusts have eaten." He didn't say if, he said, "I will." But the highest price, the cost to you, it's the cost of who you thought you were. A narcissist tears your sense of self apart molecule by molecule, and when you finally leave, you look in the mirror and barely recognize the woman staring back. You ask, "Who am I without the abuse? Who am I without the pain? Who am I without the strong one holding everything together?" I had to learn, I am not who he said I was. I am not the lies spoken over me. I am not the mistakes he blamed me for. I am not the villain in this fantasy. I am who God says I am. Isaiah 43:1 became my anchor. "Fear not,
For I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Leaving a narcissist will cost you your health, your stability, your reputation, your comfort, your finances, friendships, and sometimes even your own child. But staying would have cost you your soul, your future, your life. When Patrick, my counselor, looked at me and said, "Linda, you would be dead if you stayed," I knew the truth. Leaving did hurt like dying, but staying would have finished the job. So if you're willing to watch this and you feel like your whole world is collapsing because you finally left, if you feel stripped, lost, unseen, I want you to hear me. You are not being destroyed. You are being replanted. Every loss is a seed. Every grief is soil. Every tear is water. And God, the master gardener, is growing something in you that can never be uprooted again. Like it says in Psalm 126:5, those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Your freedom is costly, but so is your calling. And God will restore every piece.
Okay, so we just came out of a land of make-believe, except I wish it was make-believe. It was my whole life. This is very real, obviously, and very real for you too, I'm sure. I want to leave you with hope because God loves you. And there are a lot of losses and a lot of grief when you break away from a relationship that is destroying you. I finally didn't have that choice. My health deteriorated to a point where it was like life or death. But each of those losses, I know that God is filling up with goodness. And this is a very hard journey, as I have discussed today. A lot of loss. But I sure wish I had me in the past and could have watched this video and seen what was up ahead before I left. Financially, emotionally, relationally, because maybe I could have made some steps, taken some steps to protect myself a bit before I stepped out of the castle. But each of us have our own story that God has written. And I believe that God is going to renew all those things that those nasty locusts have come in and eaten. I still cry every day. I miss my daughter. And I miss my friends, my family, my life. And sometimes I lay here and just think, what's going on? But that's why I come here, because I believe this is a lot of the reason why this is going on. I believe God is going to use my pain and my loss in order to help other people find their way back home. I am so glad you came back. I cannot believe this is episode 10. Again, I apologize for the crazy eyebrows and the cheesiness. Maybe that will fade, and it might not. But I'm really glad you're here. I feel so honored that I even have any followers, and I pray for this channel continually as we walk through these castle walls together. I will see you next time.